The Essence of Meditation. Chapter 11. Human Hibernation. At the beginning of this book, I proposed a bold hypothesis, that the biological nature of meditation is to keep the mind awake, while letting the body fall asleep. In other words, meditation is sleep. It is awake sleep. It is sleeping with consciousness. With that in mind, it is not difficult to understand that all of those fantastical sensations that arise during meditation are just due to the changes in the body after it falls asleep. I have already spent a great deal of time explaining that in the previous chapters, so I will not repeat it here. However, some readers still have objections. For example, although both meditation and sleep can lower the heart rate and slow down breathing, it seems that in meditation, the heart and breathing rates are even lower than those during normal sleep. Furthermore, there are legends about some Buddhist monks who can almost completely stop their heartbeats and breathing after they have reached the deepest levels of meditation. How is that possible? To uncover that mystery, we need to start with the hibernation of animals. In the minds of most people, hibernation is seen as a way for certain animals to escape the harsh cold and food scarcity of winter, when they sleep for extended periods in their burrows. However, apart from the obvious difference in duration, months versus hours, hibernation and sleep also have fundamental internal distinctions. For example, hibernating hedgehogs are known for sleeping deeply, to the point where some species appear almost lifeless, and they won't wake up even if people handle them. Among carnivorous animals, only bears hibernate, but their sleep is not very deep. Compared to other animals, bears experience only a slight decrease in body temperature and breathing rate during hibernation, and they can wake up at any time. Nevertheless, bear hibernation is still quite different from regular sleep. For instance, the heart rate of black bears typically ranges from 40 to 50 beats per minute, (BPM), while awake, but drops to around 8 BPM during hibernation, allowing them to go without eating or drinking for over 100 days. Thus, the true significance of hibernation for animals is to minimize both their internal and external life activities, reducing their energy consumption to the minimum necessary for them to survive during harsh environmental conditions. How slow can the clock of life go during animal hibernation? The answer is truly remarkable. For example, North American box turtles have a heart that beats only once every 5 to 10 minutes during hibernation. Even more astonishingly, they hardly breathe at all, relying on their skin to absorb the minimal necessary amounts of oxygen. Besides breathing, the vital signs of hibernating animals, such as body temperature and heart rate, drop to extremely low levels. Their metabolic rate becomes incredibly slow, almost reaching the thresholds of shock and death. That fundamental difference from sleep sets hibernation apart. Today, hibernation is a hot research topic at the forefront of science because it not only is a survival strategy for coping with harsh conditions, but it also has implications for lifespan. Generally, the lifespan of mammals is positively correlated with their body size. Smaller animals have faster metabolisms and shorter lifespans, while larger animals have slower metabolisms and longer lifespans. For example, elephants can live up to 80 years, while rabbits are considered long-lived if they reach 7 or 8 years. However, bats defy this pattern. Comparing hibernating horseshoe bats with non-hibernating mice of similar body size, the former can live over 30 years, while the latter only live for 3 or 4 years. Even within the same species, those individuals that live in cold regions hibernate and have much longer lifespans than their non-hibernating counterparts in warmer areas. Although it is clear that hibernation is related to lifespan, bats and bears are quite different from humans. However, there was a groundbreaking discovery in 2004 that stunned the scientific community: a type of monkey that hibernates. That is the fat-tailed dwarf lemur, which lives on the island of Madagascar, where the temperature drops to its lowest point of the year between June and July, which coincides with the start of the dry season. From June to January, fat-tailed dwarf lemurs hibernate, sleeping for up to 7 months, usually waking up at the beginning of the following year. Throughout the dry season, they rely on the fat stored in their tails for sustenance, and by the end of hibernation, their body weight can be half of its original. Like humans, monkeys belong to the primate family, with high genetic similarity. If monkeys can hibernate, it suggests that humans might also be capable of it. Scientists are now diligently investigating the mysteries of hibernation. If we can fully understand the technology of hibernation and lower our metabolic rates to hibernation levels during regular sleep, our lifespan could potentially double or even triple with relative ease. In fact, it is quite possible that human beings have hibernation genes that have existed for a very long time. While modern humans do not naturally hibernate, there have been instances when individuals have exhibited states similar to hibernation under certain unexpected circumstances. For example, in 1999, a 29-year-old female skier named Anna Bagenholm accidentally fell into icy water in Norway and was submerged for over an hour. When Anna was rescued, she showed no signs of a heartbeat or breathing, and her body temperature had dropped to 14 degrees Celsius, or 57 degrees Fahrenheit, a state considered medically dead. However, she was miraculously resurrected at the hospital. Another case even closer to hibernation occurred in October 2006 when a 35-year-old Japanese man named Mitsutaka Uchikoshi was found in the wilderness after being in a coma for 24 days on the cold ground, with his body temperature dropping to 22 degrees Celsius, or 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and both his pulse and breathing having ceased. However, he astonishingly regained consciousness after being transported to the hospital, and no brain damage was detected after his recovery. While these cases cannot prove that human beings possess the ability to hibernate, they do suggest that humans might have this potential. Some scientists even believe that all mammals may have this potential, but gradually forgot this ability over the course of long evolutionary periods. Indeed, humans can be induced into a state similar to hibernation through a technique known as therapeutic hypothermia, or targeted temperature management. This technique has critical applications in treating medical emergencies such as cardiac arrest and brain injury. Cardiac arrest, which occurs when the heart suddenly stops beating, has a high mortality rate. Even if the person survives, just a few minutes of severe brain ischemia, lack of blood flow, usually leads to irreversible brain damage. However, by promptly inducing patients into an artificial hibernation-like state, it is possible to slow down the injury and buy time for further treatment. Clinical practice has demonstrated that this method can increase the survival rate of emergency patients and reduce the risk of neurological damage. In 2013, this technique was even applied to treat the brain injury of the renowned Formula One driver Michael Schumacher. The technology of inducing artificial hibernation not only has life-saving potential, but also could shape and extend the future of humanity. In many science fiction books and films, astronauts are placed in hibernation to prolong their lifespan during years-long interstellar journeys, which reduces resource consumption and spacecraft load, and, more importantly, allows the astronauts to arrive at their destination at a still relatively young age. Currently, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and the European Space Agency, ESA, are both researching space-applicable hibernation techniques for crewed missions to Mars and future interstellar colonization. However, this form of human hibernation is still in the experimental stages and has not gained universal acceptance in the scientific community. Many scientists believe that it contradicts the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology. Moreover, many countries either prohibit or restrict the use of human cryonics, and even where it is allowed, it is typically limited to bodies that have been declared medically dead. While we can understand that people facing terminal illnesses might view cryonics as a last-ditch effort to extend life, there are still many challenges associated with this technology. For instance, the high-concentration cryoprotectants used in tissue preservation can poison cells, despite preserving tissue integrity. Also, there are potential risks and unknowns associated with the thawing process in cryonics, and the reconstruction of the human body is a monumental undertaking that would require nanomedical technologies operating at the molecular level. Moreover, the fundamental question remains whether memory and consciousness can be repaired solely by restoring neural structures. Even if a neural structure is well preserved, it remains a mystery whether memory and consciousness can be restored solely by neural reconstruction. Therefore, while cryonics is an intriguing concept, it still faces significant scientific and practical challenges. So, is there a safer and more reliable way to induce a hibernation-like state in humans? The answer is yes, and that method is meditation. In meditation, you maintain stillness in your body so that its built-in sensors cannot detect any muscle movement. With enough time and practice, your brain, or more accurately, your unconscious brain, mistakenly believes that you have fallen asleep. Then it will gradually shut down both your motor and sensory nerves, inhibiting your sympathetic nerves while stimulating your parasympathetic nerves. That ultimately leads your body into a completely relaxed state of sleep. At that point, if you continue to maintain your stillness, your unconscious brain will mistakenly believe that you have entered an even more extreme dormant state. Then it will activate the hibernation genes that have been dormant for millions of years. That process further lowers vital signs such as respiration, body temperature, heart rate, and metabolic rate to extremely low levels, even approaching a state of shock or death. With this in mind, you will understand that the legend of Buddha, who continually meditated under a Bodhi tree for 7 days and 7 nights before achieving enlightenment and entering nirvana, is not beyond the realm of possibility. You will also understand the miraculous rescue of 12 members of a youth soccer team and their coach in a cave in Thailand in 2018. After being trapped by floodwaters, they reduced their energy consumption by meditating, and were successfully rescued after more than 2 weeks of being stranded in dire conditions. Moreover, if one of the prerequisites for future interstellar migration is requiring applicants to learn meditation, it should not come as a surprise. Thus, we can redefine the biological nature of meditation as keeping the mind awake while allowing the body to fall asleep, or even enter a hibernation-like state.